Firing rubber bullets at me. They gassed MoKaBe's.
So then they came around back because people were running out.
Well, my mom opened MoKaBe's with her twin sister and their friend as like a safe space for sober folks. And pretty quickly thereafter, my mom came out as a lesbian. And so it turned into like a safe space for like gays and lesbians in St. Louis. And that was, you know, in the 90s. And then it just like kind of kept developing into like being a safe space for more and more different types of individuals that like would find MoKaBe's, and as they were welcomed here, it was like the word spreads really quickly, you know. Always been really open to like houseless or homeless folks or people struggling in whatever ways financially, things like that, to be like, you can get something to eat, you can, you know, cool down or warm up or use the bathroom. And it's never been, there's so many places that won't even allow people like that to walk in the doors. It kept growing as a safe space for more and more people.
MoKaBe's, through the word, you know, through word of mouth, was always called this safe house. Personally, I always avoided the safe houses because I felt like the more public they were, the more likely they would be hit. So for the longest time, I actually avoided coming to MoKaBe's, but eventually I had to meet with someone here, and so I came in, and I love the space, I love the people, I love the music. Like, I felt like this was a good space for me to exist and eat and also plan.
You know, it's kind of what the movement's all about, is the fact that like people are not safe to be their whole selves, that we're always sort of like compartmentalizing or amputating parts of ourselves or trying to fit into these boxes in order to be safe. Like, I know I have felt that way as a woman, that like I have to modify my behavior or my appearance or whatever in order to stay safe. And I know that from listening to my friends who are people of color, it's the same thing, that they have to modify their behavior or to like come off a certain way or not do certain things. And so there's not that privilege, that freedom to just exist.
It's also a coffee house in like the sort of like old school sense, where it's a place for community to gather. We've been heavily involved in everything from like the LGBTQ movement, protests against both Iraq wars, the Occupy movement, the Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, we've sort of been, we've at least tried really hard to be a welcoming and open space for people involved in all of those different things.
You always would find people who you protested with. Everyone came here. It was a really nice space. They play really great music. John is like a DJ. He's pretty good with the hip hop. And then the decision to not indict Darren Wilson happened.
We broadcast the announcement that Bob McCullough made over the speakers, so everybody was sort of listening. It was very tense.
They determined that no probable cause exists to file any charge against Officer Wilson and returned a no true bill on each of the 5 indictments.
We turned it off and we took to the streets and we started marching, and we met up with a lot of other activist folks.
I went on the march and then went back to MoKaBe's, and you know, things were starting to wind down, and I was here just volunteering, just making coffee and standing behind the counter answering questions and pointing, you know, the way to the bathroom and such. And I was standing behind the counter, and I was standing at the register, and I looked over to the front door of MoKaBe's, and I saw a flash. I saw something hit the ground, and I saw a flash right at the front door. And I didn't really like understand what was going on. Took me a second. And then there was a cloud of smoke that came in, and people were fleeing inside, screaming.
Firing rubber bullets at me.
I was running to the door to get inside of MoKaBe's. I dropped my phone, so I went back to get it, tried to come back inside and actually got hit with one of the tear gas balls. So I inhaled so much gas and I came in.
And people were screaming and crying and running every which way, trying to find the back door. And we opened the back door, and the police then fired more tear gas to the back door.
Like, they were still shooting tear gas even though there was no one on the street. Like, there was it looked like a war zone. I mean, it really was fog covered because of all the tear gas, and like you would every once in a while see someone like running, trying to like get through the tear gas, clearly trying to figure out how to get back home. Or maybe to get back to MoKaBe's like I was, but you really had to run through and, you know, like close your eyes and try to cover your mouth because it was bad. And then they shot a second round of tear gas like onto the patio again, and basically to force us back inside.
Can they come back here, sir? What for, sir? What are they being arrested for?
You cannot arrest them.
No, no.
How many does it take? How many
Really?
does it take to arrest them? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
My first thought when I realized that the tear gas happened and that people were fleeing inside and everybody was terrified, my first thought was to call the police. That was my first thought. And then I thought, oh my God, that's who did this. This is who's done this to us, and we can't leave. Like, we are stuck in here. You know, all the protesters were on the patio thinking that they were in a safe place and that they could protest, you know, peacefully, which was going on. There was nothing unpeaceful about what was going on at MoKaBe's, absolutely nothing. So I thought that I was safe to be there, as well as anybody else that was there. So I still think that, yeah, I still want to be able to, if I'm in a, you know, if my daughter is in danger, if I'm in a dangerous situation, that's who I want to feel safe to call. And that made me feel, I felt angry. I felt very, very angry at the St. Louis Police Department. I was pissed the next day, you know, and I'm not sure I don't know. I just felt, I was so mad. I was so mad at what happened. I was so mad that we felt so stuck in there and that we had to leave with our hands up like we were prisoners. You know, I felt like, I felt unsafe actually with the police.